Hello and welcome to this Beyond Exploring session. We're continuing our journey through A Game at Chess by Thomas Middleton. The stories so far during a chess grandmaster championship during the Cold War. The evil Russian agents of the USSR are trying to goad the good guys in the white hats of the US of A. No, that's not what's actually happening, but that's sort of a thing that's going on in my head at the moment as a possible modern-day analogue for the complex political, social, religious issues that this play is throwing up. This could be thought of as a play about spies doing untidy, nasty things to try and get the enemy. Trigger warning if you have not watched episode 1, and seriously go back to episode 1, otherwise you're going to get really very, very lost. There are important trigger warnings to mention that this is a play that discusses and occasionally depicts scenes of sexual violence. There are racial issues, and of course this is not an ecumenical matter. This is a text that is very, very partial on certain sides of religious conflicts. So you are warned. Today we are going to make an attempt to stagger through Act 2, at the end of Act 2, from midway through scene 2 of Act 2, through hopefully into the early area of Act 4. And we have a slightly truncated team to work through that text today, and who I will introduce very, very briefly. There's some extreme doubling, and this scene is actually very busy, so this is going to be possibly a very untidy little look, but we're here to find out how it works, not to be perfect and wonderful. However, the participants are themselves perfect and wonderful, so reading today the part of the White Queen's pawn and the second Black pawn is...
Alexandra, and I'm so confused.
And Veronica has just re-entered the room and we can see her, which is fabulous. We are recording and going through introductions now, so I'll catch up with you in just a second. Reading the part of the White and Black King and also the Black Bishop's pawn is...
Hello, I'm Helen Good. I'm a historian.
And reading the part of the Fat Bishop, the White and Black Duke, and the Black Jesting Pawn is...
Hello, I'm William Sutton, and I'm an actor based in Amsterdam.
And reading the part of the Black and White Bishop, and a White Pawn is...
Hi, I'm Alan Scott. I'm based in Suffolk. I'm not a professional actor.
And just back in the room, hopefully we can see and hear her perfectly, reading the Black and White Queen and the Black Knight's pawn is...
Hello, I'm Veronica. I'm based in London.
And having got the reprieve in what part she's going to be reading today, playing the Black Queen's pawn is...
Hi, I'm Liz Hill and I'm in North Devon.
Excellent. And I am your host, Robert Crighton, and I'm going to be reading the Black and White Knight. Now, you may have gathered that, as I say, we're all playing the opposite playing piece in terms of colour to ourselves. So there will be moments where we may occasionally almost talk to each other. In the event that it is not clear which colour we are supposed to be, some of us have colour-coordinated clothing that they can switch between. Some of us will hold up an object that is darker or lighter in hue. Alternatively, we may simply just say, the Black Bishop says, and says their line afterwards. It's not going to be a perfect reading. We're here just to find out how this sequence ticks. And as I say, we need far more people than we have in the room at the moment. But that's enough apologizing. Where are we? Well, we've just had an opening gambit where we've met the Fat Bishop. And the Black Knight and the Black Bishop don't like the Fat Bishop because he's changed sides. He's currently on the white side. And this is a massive chess game, which means that we now have the entrance of an awful lot of chess pieces. who are in competition with each other. So the stage direction that we are going from in Act 2, Scene 2 is enter on one side the White King, the White Queen, the White Knight, the White Duke, the White Bishop, the White King's pawn, and White Bishop's pawn. On the other side, enter the Black King, the Black Queen, the Black Duke, the Black Knight's pawn, and both the sides fill. White King kicks off.
This hath been looked for long.
The stronger sting it shoots into the blood of the black adversary. I am ashamed now I was there as ever. What a lump was I when I was led in ignorance and blindness. I must confess, I've all my lifetime played the fool till now.
And now he plays two parts, the fool and knave.
There is my recantation in the last leaf, writ like a Ciceronian in pure Latin.
White Bishop. Pure honesty. The plainer Latin serves then.
Plague on those pestilent pamphlets. Those are they that wound our cause to the heart.
Black Bishop. Here comes more anger.
And at this point, enter the White Queen's pawn, who is quite rightly upset from incidents earlier in the play. The Black Knight continues, but we come well provided for this storm.
Is this my pawn, she that should guard our person, or some pale figure of dejection her shape usurping? Sorrow and affrightment hath prevailed strangely with her.
I thought I was muted. King of integrity, queen of the same, and all the house, professors of noble candour, uncorrupted justice, and truth of heart. Through my alone discovery, my life and honour wondrously preserved, I bring into your knowledge, with my sufferings, fearful affrightments, and heart-killing terrors, the great incendiary of Christendom, the absolute abuser of true sanctity, fair peace, and holy order can be found in any part of the universal globe, who making meek devotion keeps the door. His lips being full of holy zeal at first would have committed a foul rape upon me.
Ha!
A rape? That's foul indeed. The very sound to our ear fouler than the offence itself to some kings of the earth.
Sir, to proceed, gladly I offered life to preserve honour, which would not be accepted without both, the chief of his ill aim being at my honour, till heaven was pleased by some unlooked-for accident to give me courage to redeem myself.
When we find desperate sins in all men's companies, we place a charitable sorrow there. But custom and their leprous inclination quits us of wonder, for our expectation is answered in their lives. But to find sin, yea, and a masterpiece of darkness, sheltered under a robe of sanctity, is able to draw wonder to that monster only, and leave created monsters unadmired. The pride of him that took first fall for pride is to be angel-shaped, and imitate the form from whence he fell. But this offender, far baser than sin's master, fixed by vow to holy order, which is angel's method, takes pride to use that shape to be a devil. It grieves me that my knowledge must be tainted with his infected name, or rather, with thy finger, point him out.
The place which he should fill is void, my lord. His guilt hath scared him. The Black Bishop's pawn.
The Black Bishop. Ha! Mine? My pawn? The glory of his order? The prime and president zealot of the earth? Impudent pawn! For thy sake at this minute, modesty suffers. All that's virtuous blushes, and truth's self, like the sun vexed with a mist, looks red with anger. The White Bishop replies, Be you not drunk with rage too?
Sober sincerity, nor you with a cup spiced with hypocrisy. You name their bishop but your own Christmas bowl, your morning's draught, next your episcopal heart, all the 12 days will smack you, cannot leave all the year after. And the Black Knight, in response to the White Knight, aside. A shrewd retort has made our bishop smell of burning too. Would I were stood farther off, were no impeachment to my honour or the game, would they play faster. White Knight, there is acknowledged from our house a reverence to you and a respect that loved Duke stands next you. With the favour of the White King and the aforenamed respected, I combat with this cause, if with all speed, waste not one syllable, unfortunate pawn, of what I speak, thou dost not plead distraction, a plea which will but faintly take thee off neither from this leviathan scandal that lies rolling upon the crystal waters of devotion, or what may quit thee more, though enough nothing fall down and foam, and by that pang discover the vexing spirit of falsehood strong within thee. Make thyself ready for perdition. There's no remove in all the game to 'scape it. This pawn or this, the bishop or myself, will take thee in the end, play how thou canst.
Spite of sin's glorious ostentation and all loud threats, those thundercracks of pride ushering a storm of malice, house of impudence, craft, and equivocation, my true cause shall keep the path it treads on.
I play thus then, now in the hearing of this high assembly, bring forth the time of this attempt's conception.
Conception. Oh, how tenderly you handle it.
White Bishop. It seems, Black Knight, you are afraid to touch it.
Well, its eruption. Will she have it so then, or you, White Bishop, for her, the more unclean, vile, and more impious that you urge the strain to, the greater will her shame's heap show in the end, and the wronged meek man's glory. The time, pawn.
Yesterday's cursed evening.
Oh, the treasure of my revenge. I cannot spend all on thee. Ruin to spare for all thy kindred too. For honour's sake, call in more slanderers. I have such plentiful confusion, I know not how to waste it. I'll be nobler yet, and put her to her own house. King of meekness, take the cause to thee, for our hands too heavy, our proofs will fall upon her like a tower, and grind her bones to powder.
What new engine has the devil raised in him now?
Is it he, and that the time? Stand firm now to your scandal. Pray, do not shift your slander.
Shift your treacheries. They've worn one suit too long.
That holy man so wrongfully accused by this lost pawn hath not been seen these 10 days in these parts.
How?
Nay, at this instant, 30 leagues from hence.
Fathomless falsehood! Will it scape unblasted?
Can you make this appear?
Light is not clearer by his own letters, most impartial monarch. Oh, we may not have a White King's pawn available. Someone jump in?
How wrong?
How wrongfully may sacred virtue suffer, sir?
Ah, Bishop, we have a treasure of that false heart.
Step forth and reach those proofs.
And exit the Black Knight's pawn, my pawn, who presently returns with papers.
Amazement covers me. Can I be so forsaken of a cause so strong in truth and equity? Will virtue send me no aid in this hard time of friendship?
There's an infallible staff and a red hat reserved for you.
Oh, sir, endeared.
A staff that will not easily break, you may trust to it, and such a one had your corruption need of. There's a state fig for you now.
Behold all, how they cohere in one. I always held a charity so good in holiness professed, that I ever believed rather the accuser false than the professor vicious.
A charity, like all your virtues else, gracious and glorious.
Where settles the offence, let the false punishment be derived from thence. We leave her to your censure.
Most just majesty. And exit the White King, the White Queen, the White Bishop, and the White King's pawn, the Fat Bishop, and the Fat Bishop's pawn. And I'm going to be switching between White Knight and Black Knight a little bit in this final gambit, but we won't do that yet. Let's just briefly talk about what we have seen. It suddenly turns into a court case.
And
Of
we now
victim blaming.
and we now understand the backdated letters.
Yeah.
Right.
So the letter writing is so important in this text. You know, it's all evidence. You know, they have a system in place. It's all set up earlier. Yes, it took me a while to realise the Black Knight should basically be standing there holding his gown, doing this kind of cross-examination. And it's I think it probably should also be more vicious than as well. You know, that this everybody should be looking at the victim and just actually how unfair it is, even though on the sense that everything is looking like it should be fair. You know, the White King's looking very noble. The Black Knight is doing all this arse licking of the White King all the way through that. Oh, you are most wise, most learned. Thoughts from the room?
Poor White Queen's pawn.
Yes, that was my
Total
point.
setup. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible, and again, it's got those contemporary reflections, which I think makes it all the more horrible, but also interesting for a modern audience, I guess.
Except that she's not believed at all,
Not yet.
is she? I mean, they don't even question it. No.
Yeah, which is where I see the modern parallels, because we've still got that culture of victim blaming, and that I was thinking about this after we finished with the first half, that one way of looking at this play would be to put it into a completely, so in the same way as at the time it was written with lots of contemporary references, which we have since lost, if we transform those into references contemporary to us, that everyone would understand. So, for example, instead of the Jesuits, you've got the mass media and this idea of spying on people through whether they're technology or then lots of things like this moment would hit us, I think, as a modern audience immensely.
Yes, it's not letters; it's their IP address.
Right, exactly. Our phone records are.
Yeah. It's the Black Knight is the hotshot lawyer who's come in. Who's working for the wealthy elite personage, depending on which spin you wish to go with. Especially as we got the Fat Bishop, who just is clearly working the media for everything.
A media whore.
Yeah. A meal whore, actually.
Yeah. It's such a condensed scene, actually, considering what it does. It does it very quickly. It doesn't hang around at all. And this whole play, actually, you think about all of the action. The wider chess match is not covered really very much at all. There's a game going on, but actually that wider game we're not really engaged in at all. It's simply what's happening on the lowest level here of pawns. It's what the lower level people are doing at in theory, the behest of the people further up the chain of command. That's really interesting.
They're doing the dirty work. They're doing the dirty work, basically. So yeah, it's quite normal that the others.
Because the attack on the White Queen's pawn is an attack on the White Queen.
It's an extension of that attack. They're burning her to get to the Queen. And, but the Black King, who in theory this is all at the behest of, has said almost nothing in the play. He said it in letters, but he's not actually, getting his hands dirty at all.
Deniability, dear boy, deniability.
Yeah, plausible deniability is the thing. Okay, there's a little bit of throat clearing at the end of this scene. The White Knight and the Black Knight do not talk simultaneously, so we sort of swap that around. So there's a short white followers-on scene, followed by a black, mostly black scene. So we'll just do them one after the other. So this scene features the White Queen's Pawn, the White Knight, the White Duke, and the White Bishop's Pawn. So I think we've got all of those people available. So, short scenette. White Queen's Pawn speaks first, I think.
Calamity of virtue, my queen, leave me too. Am I cast off as the olive casts her flower? Poor friendless innocence, art thou left a prey to the devourer?
No, thou art not lost. Let 'em put on their bloodiest resolutions, if the fair policy I aim at prospers. Thy counsel, noble Duke.
For that work, cheerfully.
A man for speed now.
Let it be my honour, sir. Make me that flight that owes her my life's service.
And we all exit. So something's happening. Something's going to happen. But who knows?
They have a plan.
They have a cunning plan of which the audience is almost entirely not privy to. And for that matter, the White Queen's Pawn is not privy to, because she doesn't exit. And she is left with all the black pieces. The Black Knight starts first. Was not this brought about well for our honours?
Ish. That Galician brain can work out wonders.
Let's use her as, upon the like discovery, a maid was used at Venice. Everyone be ready with a penance. Begin, Majesty. Vessel of foolish scandal, take thy freight. Had there been in that cabinet of nigress half the virginities of the earth locked up, and all swept at one cast by the dexterity of a Jesuitical gamester, not valued the least part of that general worth thou'st tainted.
First, I enjoy thee to a 3 days fast for it.
You're too penurious, sir. I'll make it 4.
I to 12 hours kneeling at one time.
And in a room filled all with Artine's pictures, more than the twice 12 labours of luxury, thou shalt not see so much as the chaste pommel of Lucrece dagger peeping. Nay, I'll punish thee for a discoverer. I'll torment thy modesty.
After that 4 days fast, to the Inquisition house, strengthened with bread and water for worse penance.
Well said, Duke of our house, nobly aggravated.
Virtue, to show her influence more strong, fits me with patience, mightier than my wrong.
And they exit. It's interesting there, the difference between the punishments and the shaming that they're putting on the White Queen's Pawn here. The Black Duke does not seem to have got the memo. His seems to be a straightforwardly devotional kind of thing. Take standard penance for being a bad person, whereas what the Black Knight is suggesting is considerably stranger. Thoughts about that little exchange?
I read the Black Duke differently. I thought what he was saying was, and after you've done all of that, come and we'll give you worse.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought he was going to just give a bread and water diet after
Yeah,
So-
but they're very, very different punishments.
One can be seen as more of a spiritual cleansing, and the other seems to be some guy's weird fetish.
Yeah, that's my thinking. Is that the Duke is doing something
Both
not very
bad,
nice, but it sort of is a more normal thing you would sort of
Okay.
expect.
Like that. But Aretino's pictures, is that not, aren't they then luxurious feasting? I thought Aretino's, I'm just asking now.
Erotic.
They're
It's more
erotic.
like a bacchanal, I should think. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're living in her in a room full of porn.
right?
So
I got that right then. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's it's very
Some people
perverse.
might enjoy that, William, but
Yeah,
for
that's
that
what I mean.
context,
It's like, but for her, that's not the case.
No,
I don't
no.
think.
Okay.
Yes, but she's going to be kneeling there and fasting there.
Right?
Yeah.
And however much, it's a sort of aversion therapy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surround her with porn, but give her pain with it.
Yeah.
Right.
That it's very, very twisted. And it's yeah, it's dark again. I mean, it really is. She is left at their mercy completely. She's been cast off by everybody. We can assume that the White Knight and the White Duke know that they can't intercede directly, and that's why they have a cunning plan.
Right.
But we're not going to find out what that is for a while.
Yeah.
Also,
One for
the
Dictionary
other
Corner.
women. Sorry.
Robert, one for Dictionary Corner. Cabinet of Nigeness.
That I don't know, and I will look that up as and see what that one says. Anything else while I'm doing that? Thoughts from the room?
Yeah, the other women in the scene, both of them just kind of abandon her. So like the White Queen doesn't say anything pretty much and then leaves. And then the Black Queen actually ups the numbers of days, but then doesn't say anything either.
But the White Queen is horrified by the fact that her servant is so disgraced. Yeah.
But
And
she's
you
not
answered your...
on,
Sorry, go on.
she's not on stage during this sequence because she's exited immediately before it, doesn't she?
No, yeah, but I'm saying so in the scene before you have the White Queen, and yeah, she doesn't say much. And then as Helen put it, because and then in the other scene there's the Black Queen, and she also offers no
female solidarity going on here.
Yeah.
No.
In answer to your question, by the way, Alan, it's just a typo. It's niceness.
That makes a bit more sense.
Yes. Cabinet of niceness. Okay. So that's the first two acts down. We're now moving into Act 3. We have a bit more back and forth between the Fat Bishop and the Black Knight. So let us see where this scene takes us.
Just to refresh my memory, the Fat Bishop is currently playing for the White House.
He is indeed.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He
Right.
has changed sides because if you write your book against something that you don't believe in, it's so much easier when you write the opposite opinion.
Good.
I can't think of any possible political resonances.
Yes, the Fat Bishop basically creates straw men to destroy later when he changes sides. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter Fat Bishop.
I know my pen draws blood of the Black House. There's ne'er a book I write, but their cause bleeds. It had lost many an ounce of reputation since I came on the side. I strike deep in, and leave the orifice gushing where I come. But where's my advancement all this while I've gaped for? I've had some round preferment, corpulent dignity that bears some breadth and compass in the gift on't. I am persuaded that this flesh would fill the biggest chair ecclesiastical, if it were put to trial. To be made master of an hospital, there's but a kind of diseased bedrid honour. Or dean of the poor alms knights that wear badges. There's but 2 lazy, beggarly preferments in the White Kingdom, and I've got 'em both. My merit doth begin to be crop sick for want of other titles.
Just pause there. Yes, he's not getting what he was offered, is he?
No. He's getting his food, but that's it.
Yeah. No, it always happens with the defection. You never
Right.
quite get what you hope for. I'm going back to Cold War, and it's, you Blunt or Burgess or McClellan. Okay, the Black Knight enters, and he opens with an aside. Oh, here walks his fulsome holiness. Now for the master trick to undo him everlastingly, that's put home, and make him hang in hell most seriously, that jested with a halter upon me.
Ooh, the Black Knight. I must look to my play, then.
I bring fair greetings to your reverend virtues from Cardinal Paulus, your most princely kinsman.
Our princely kinsman, sayest thou? We accept him. Pray, keep your side and distance. I'm chary of my episcopal person. I know the knight's walk in this game too well. He may skip over me. And where am I then?
There where thou shalt be shortly, if art fail not.
Right, reverend and noble, meaning me, true kinsman in blood, but alienated in affection. Your unkind disobedience to the mother cause proves at this time the only cause of your ill fortune. My present remove by general election to the papal dignity had now auspiciously settled you in my sede vacanti. How had it so? Which at my next remove by death might have proved your step to supremacy. Ah! Oh, my body's blood mounts to my face to look upon this letter.
The pill works with him.
Think on seriously if it is not yet too late, though the submissive acknowledgment of your disobedience to be lovingly received into the brotherly bosom of the conclave. This was the chair of ease I ever aimed at. I'll make a bonfire of my books immediately. All that are left against that side I'll sacrifice. Pack up my plate and goods and steal away by night at Watergate. It is but penning, another recantation, and inventing 2 or 3 bitter books against the White House, and then I'm in on the other side again, as firm as e'er I was, as fat and flourishing. Black Knight! Expect a wonder ere it be long. Thou shalt see me one of the Black House shortly.
Oh, your holiness is merry with the messenger, too happy to be true. You speak what should be, if natural compunction touched you truly. Oh, you've drawn blood, lifeblood, the blood of honour from your most dear, your primitive mother's heart. Your sharp invective have been points of spears in her sweet tender sides. The unkind wounds which a son gives, a son of reverence specially, they rankle 10 times more than the adversaries. I tell you, sir, your reverend revolt did give the fearfullest blow to adoration our cause e'er felt. It shook the very statues, the urns and ashes of the sainted sleepers.
Forbear, or I shall melt at the place I stand and let forth a fat bishop in sad syrup. Suffice as I am, yours when they least dream on't. Ambition's fodder, power and riches draws me. When I smell honour, that's the lock of hay that leads me through the world's field every way.
And the fat bishop exits. That's a lovely little bit of business, isn't it? I'm only going to say one thing myself, and that is they overhear each other's asides.
Right? What's the point in doing an aside if it's just going to be over?
That's some spycraft, isn't it? I mean, that's
double.
Good laugh.
I must say, at this point, I'm wondering about the provenance of the letter.
Well,
yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yes, I presumably wrote it in my spare time.
I mean, the Black Knight is a serious player.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we've been given a hint of that because he did mention earlier that he's going to trick the bishop with Zenivagande.
Mm.
Yes, he
Mm.
It's
did,
been
didn't he?
mentioned
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it has been little
was
seeds
flagged.
of this because we've clearly been circling each other, and this is I found his weakness, and it's a simple one.
He wants to be Pope.
Right. Okay. The Black Knight's going to soliloquize for a bit, and then his pawn is going to come and join them. So let's rattle through this super quick. Here's a sweet paunch to propagate belief on, like the foundation of a chapel laid upon a quagmire. I may number him now among my inferior policies and not shame him, but let me a little solace my designs with the remembrance of some brave ones past to cherish the futurity of project, whose motion must be restless, till that great work, called the possession of the world, be ours. Was it not I procured a gallant fleet from the White Kingdom to secure our coasts against the infidel pirates under pretext of more necessitous expedition? Who made the jails fly open without miracle, and let the locusts out, those dangerous flies whose property is to burn corn with touching? The heretics' granaries feel it to this minute, and now they've got amongst the country crops, they stick so fast to the converted ears, the loudest tempest that authority rouses will hardly shake 'em off. They have their dens in ladies' couches, theirs safe groves and fens. Nay, were they followed and found out by the scent, palm oil will make a pursuivant relent. Whose policy was to put a silenced muzzle on all the barking tongue men of the time, made pictures that were dumb enough before poor sufferers in that politic restraint. My light spleen skips and shakes my ribs to think on't. Oh, whilst our drifts walked uncensured, but in thought, a whisper or a whistle would be questioned in the most fortunate angle of the world. The court hath held the city by the horns, while I have milked her. I have got good sops too for country ladies, from country ladies for their liberties. For some, for their most vainly hoped preferments, high offices in the air. I should not live but for this male realm, this mirth manner. My pawn, how now? The news?
Expect none very pleasing that comes, sir, of my bringing. I'm for sad things.
Thy conscience is so tender-hoofed of late, every nail pricks it.
This may prick yours too, if there be any quick flesh in yard on't.
Mine? Mischief must find a deep nail and a driver beyond the strength of any Machiavel. The politic kingdoms fatten to reach mine. Prithee, compunction, needle pricked a little, unbind this sore wound.
Sir, your plot's discovered.
Which of the 20,900 threescore canst tell?
Bless us, so many. How do poor countrymen have but one plot to keep a cow on, yet in law for that? You cannot know 'em all, sure, by their names, sir.
Yes, well, the number trebled. Hast thou seen a globe stands on the table in my closet?
A thing, sir, full of countries and hard words.
True, with lines drawn, some tropical, some oblique.
I scarce can read. I was brought up in blindness.
Just such a thing, if e'er my skull be opened, will my brains look like?
like a globe of countries?
Yes, and some master politician that hath sharp state eyes will go near to pick out the plots and every climate where they're fastened. It will puzzle 'em too.
I'm of your mind for that, sir.
They'll find to fall thick upon some countries. They need spectacles. But I turn to you now. What plot is that discovered?
Your last brat, sir. Begot twixt the Black Bishop and yourself, your antedated letters about the Jesuits.
Discovered? How?
The White Knight's policy hath outstripped yours. Joined with the assistant counsel of his duke, the White Bishop's pawn undertook the journey, who, as they say, discharged it like a flight, made him the business fit and light.
Oh, it's but a bawdy pawn out of the way a little. Enough of them in all parts. And we'll just pause there to take breath before additional people enter. That was fun.
Yeah.
That's a part. Yeah, I'm having that. Right.
You already have, mate.
Yeah, it's the first time that I've thought, hang on, contemporary references, see here.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
quite, yes.
full of them, isn't it?
Pounding.
I mean, it's still a good speech, but yeah, you feel that there's references left, right, and centre that we're missing.
I mean, this is what sold the tickets in the theatre.
I feel sorry for his pawn, though.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
one?
I mean, he's just using the pawn to display his superiority.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy's a total shit.
Yes.
Yeah, and the pawn is simply there as the
Feed.
the feed.
Yeah.
It's the straight man to the comic. Though it's a bit dual role. It's not pure clown. But it's, by God, it's got some zingers. Love that.
And what's wonderful is that it helps to round out that character, and by the same token, that side, in the same way as you get in, other drama of this era, where it's not sort of clean cut hero villain. There are villains that you like, and there are, there's motivation behind what people do. And there are, choices that are very confident choices, but they are mistakes. In this particular case, we have a very likable villain.
But also a very hissable villain.
Yeah. You see, because he's a competent villain. I mean, I think there's the fundamental difference between the incompetent villain who's just horrible, but hasn't thought it through, and someone like this who's going to probably get their comeuppance, but it's going to be through probably hubris, I suspect. It feels like pride is coming before this fall, but who knows? Might get away with it. There's a reason why we like Francis Urquhart, and he's feeling very cheap-wit to me at the moment. Yes.
I was thinking even more current. The comings and goings.
I don't think this level of competence there. Anyway, so the scene continues. We once again have a mass entrance. So we may get a little confused, but I don't think it is actually that confusing. We're going to find out. So we may be swapping parts back and forth again. There's a bit of Black Knight, White Knight for me, I see coming ahead. So let's see where this is all going to go. So the pawn's warned that something's gone horribly, horribly wrong, and then enter on one side the White King, White Queen, White Knight, White Duke, White Bishop, Fat Bishop, and the White King's pawn. On the other, the Black King, the White Black Queen, Black Duke, and Black Bishop.
So the Fat Bishop is still entering for the White House.
Oh yes, he hasn't announced yet.
Not
right.
Changed yet.
Oh, it's all kicking off now. You can feel the plot starting to turn over now. The politics of the court's getting going. So it's Black Bishop, Black Knight, White King start off this scene.
You have heard all then.
the wonders past with me, but some shall down for it.
Set free that virtuous pawn from all her wrongs. Let her be brought with honour to the face of her malicious adversaries.
And as someone exits to do that, the Black Knight, of course, naturally says, "Good."
Noble, chaste knight, a title of that candour the greatest prince on earth without impeachment may have the dignity of his worth comprised in. This fair delivering act virtue will register in that white book of the defence of virgins, where the clear frames of all preserving knights are to the eternal memory consecrated. And we embrace as partner of that honour this worthy Duke, the counsel of the act, whom we shall ever place in our respect.
Most blessed of kings, throned in all royal graces, every good deed sends back its own reward into the bosom of the enterpriser. Aye, but you to express yourself as well to be king of munificence as integrity adds glory to the gift.
Thy desert claims it, zeal and fidelity. Appear, thou beauty of truth and innocency, best ornament of patience, thou that makes thy sufferings glorious.
And as he says so, she indeed re-enter the White King's pawn with the White Queen's pawn. So 2 white pawns enter. Important detail. The Black Knight, however, starts with an aside. "I'll take no knowledge on't. What makes she here? How dares yond pawn unpenanced with a cheek fresh as her falsehood yet, where castigation hath left no pale print of her visiting anguish, appear in this assembly? Oh, let me alone. Sin must be bold. That's all the grace 'tis born to."
What's this?
I am wonderstruck.
Assist me, goodness. I shall go to prison again.
At least I've mazed 'em, scatter their admirations of her innocence as the fired ships put in severed fleet in 88. I'll on with impudence is mischief's patrimony. Is this justice? Oh, is injured reverence no sharply arighted? I ever held that majesty impartial, that like most equal measure looks on the manners, not on the shapes that shroud us.
This Black Knight will never take an answer. 'Tis a victory to make him understand he doth amiss, when he knows in his own clear understanding that he doth nothing else. Show him the testimony, confirmed by good men, how that foul attempter got but this morning to the place from whence he dated his forged lines for 10 days past.
Why may not the corruption sleep in this by some connivance, as you have waked in ours by too rash confidence?
I'll undertake that knight should teach the devil how to lie.
If sin were half so wise as impudent, she'd ne'er seek further for an advocate. And here we enter the Black Queen's pawn.
Now, to act treachery with an angel's tongue. Since all's come out, I'll bring him strangely in again. Where is this injured chastity? This goodness whose worth no transitory peace can value? This rock of constant and invincible virtue that made sin's tempest weary of his fury?
What, is my pawn distracted?
I think rather there is some notable masterpiece of roguery this drum strikes up for.
Let me fall with reverence before this blessed altar.
This is madness.
Well, mark the end. I stand for rogueries still. I will not change my side.
I shall be taxed, I know. I care not what the Black House thinks of me.
What say you now?
I will not be unlaid yet.
However censure flies, I honour sanctity. That is my object. I intend no other. I saw this glorious and most valiant virtue fight the most noblest combat with the devil.
If both the bishops had been there for seconds, there'd been a complete duel.
Then thou heardest the violence intended.
'Tis a truth I joy to justify. I was an agent on virtue's part, and raised that confused noise that startled his attempt and gave her liberty.
Oh, 'tis a righteous story she hath told, sir. My life and fame stand mutually engaged both to the truth and goodness of this pawn.
Does it appear to you yet clear as the sun?
Lass, I believed it long before 'twas done.
Do you want me to go with the Black King or not?
Yeah, you can continue with the Black King a little longer.
Degenerate.
Base.
Yes.
Traitorous pawn!
What? Are you all beside yourselves?
But I remember that pawn.
May a fearful barrenness blast both my hopes and pleasures, if I brought not her ruin in my pity, a new trap for her more sure confusion.
Have I won now? Did I not say 'twas craft and machination? I smelt conspiracy all the way it went, although the mess were covered. I'm so used to it.
That queen would I fain finger.
You are too hot, sir. If she were took, the game would be ours quickly. We aims at that white knight, entrap him first. The duke will follow.
I would that bishop were in my diocese. I'd soon change his whiteness.
Sir, I could whip you up a pawn immediately. I know where my game stands.
Do it suddenly. Advantage least must not be lost in this play.
Pawn, thou art ours. I'm just going to pause here because I think some of this needs a little exposition before we go forward. Because we've just had a lengthy bit with the Black Queen's pawn coming in and, you know, sort of supporting the story. And supporting and I think the black team is in a state of some confusion and takes a while to turn around to where they're going. Am I right in that front?
Yes, they need to regroup.
Yeah, they've obviously not all read the memo.
Well, I mean, everything's happening incredibly quickly. You know, I've been on stage when this was discovered off stage and the plot fell apart and the Black Queen's pawn's coming back in and saying, no, it's all true. And we're all slightly trying to decide who we're siding with on this. And obviously the Black King wants someone to take one of the white pieces. You know, we're not getting a win on the black side here at all. We haven't won a thing. And so that's where the scene has sort of reached, is this point of we need an easy win against the white pieces.
I really like the way this is going with the espionage and counter espionage and who's a mole, who's a double agent, who's a triple agent, who's a quadruple agent, because we're about to have another reversal in a moment. So the idea that the Black Queen's pawn seems to have betrayed her side, but the Black Knight knows that that's not so, and he's got a plan, but not everybody else does. And then, you know, we encounter more betrayals.
Well, it's that thing, there's a negotiation as he sort of figures out. He's sort of saying out loud, and I don't know how many of those are asides or not, of just going, am I going with this? Do I follow, or am I not? Where do I jump?
He doesn't believe it, does he, at all?
No, he twigs very quickly. But, you know, it's not like there's been a conversation. He just trusts his agent. And then he's able to pull out of his 20,000 plots. Oh, we can do something now. If you'd like a quick win, I've got him.
And I think that's really, as I was saying about the betrayals thing, that's really nice, because as an audience, we're led towards thinking that you know, one person has switched allegiance, and then immediately he goes and points us in a different. It's really
thriller.
nicely constructed.
It's a thriller. It's like those. It's not just Cold War, but it's also those con things when you know
Yeah.
the con always goes wrong at the 11th hour, but then you find out that there's a con underneath the con and everything's fine. And there's a little bit of that chaos to this. It's very organized, it's very clever, but it's like, the white side are winning, and then suddenly, what, you're betraying us? Oh, no, you're not betraying us. It's all part of a longer term plot to get the Duke and the White Duke and the White Knight. And let's play a different gambit now. I think that's really interesting. So at this point onwards, for a brief spell, Alexandra is now going to be playing the Black King, whereas Helen will be remaining the White King. We should have done this signposting there. I should have sent out printouts of special official signs. I think we're doing surprisingly well considering there's only 7 of us. So for this little gambit, I'm going to be flipping between the White Knight and the Black Knight in my usual fashion, because dramatic action is now going to be happening, because the Black Knight in this moment seizes the White King's pawn. Who I don't actually think says another line. I think they've only said about 3 lines in the entire play. The White Knight responds to this by going, "He's taken by default, by willful negligence. Guard the sacred persons, look well to the White Bishop, for that pawn gave guard to the Queen, and him in the 3rd place." And everyone's acting surprised, and the Black Knight, of course, who knows what's going on. "See what sure peace you lock your confidence in. I made this pawn here by corruption ours, as soon as honour by creation yours. This whiteness upon him is but the leprosy of pure dissimulation. View him now, his heart and his intents are of our colour." And dramatically, we pull off the White King's pawn's habit, and he's a black pawn all along.
Most dangerous hypocrite!
One made against us!
Is truth of this complexion?
Hath my goodness, clemency, love, and favour gracious raised thee from a condition next to popular labour? Took thee from all the dubitable hazards of fortune, her most unsecure adventures, and grafted thee into a branch of honour? And dost thou fall from the top bough by the rottenness of vile lone corruption, like a fruit that's over-ripened by the beams of favour? Let thine own weight reward thee. I forgot thee. Integrity of life is so dear to me, where I find falsehood or a crying sin, be it in any whom our grace shines most on, I'll tear them from my heart.
Spoke like heaven's substitute.
You have him, we can spare him, and his shame will make the rest look better to their game.
The more cunning we must use then.
We shall match you, play how you can, perhaps, and mate you too.
Is there so much amazement spent on him that's but half black? There might be hope of that, man. But how will this house wonder if I stand forth and show a whole one? Instantly discover one that's all black, where there's no hope at all.
I'll say thy heart then justifies thy books. I long for that discovery.
Look no further then. Bear witness, all the house, I am the man, and turn myself into the black house freely. I am of this side now.
Monster ne'er matched him.
This is your noble work, knight.
Now I'll halter him.
Next news you hear, expect my books against you, printed at Douai, Brussels, or Spalaltro.
See his goods seized.
Last they were all conveyed last night by water to a tailor's house, a friend of the black cause.
A prepared hypocrite.
premeditated turncoat.
And here, the White King, the White Queen, the White Knight, the White Duke, and the White Bishop all exit in disgust.
Yes, rail on. I'll reach you in my writings when I'm gone.
Yes, and here Alexandra will now return to being whoever she was earlier. So no longer the Black King. Flatter him a while with honours till we put him upon some dangerous service, and then burn him.
This came unlooked for.
Overjoyed to see you. Now I'll discover all the White House to you. Indeed, that will both reconcile and raise you.
And exit, thankfully, the Black King, Black Queen, Black Duke, doubling there beautifully with the Fat Bishop, and the Black Bishop as well, leaving on stage the White King's pawn, who I haven't cast. Liz, be the White King's pawn, please, briefly.
I rest upon you, knight, for my advancement now.
Oh, for the staff, the strong staff that will hold, and the red hat fit for the guilty method. Into the empty bag know thy first way. Pawns that are lost are ever out of play.
How's this?
No replications. You know me. No doubt ere long you'll have more company. The bag is big enough. 'Twill hold us all. I really like that tiny little scenette. Because it's, the bag, obviously, you're out of the game, you go into the bag. And in this case, we've got so many modern spy terms as well. When I've talked about burning, when you burn someone, in spying, in Le Carré and whatever, you talk about, you burn someone, they're burnt and they're done with. And he literally says that about the Fat Bishop. And then, the White King's pawn, he's sacrificed. He's gone. Bye-bye.
He's in the bag.
He's in the bag.
Yes.
In the bag, yeah.
So, yeah. Wow. Okay, there's a bit more scene to go. The White Queen's pawn and the Black Queen's pawn have a little back and forth, a little two-hander to close the scene. So, White Queen's pawn, you're up.
I sue to thee, prithee, be one of us. Let my love win thee. Thou'st done truth this day, and yesterday my honour, noble service. The best pawn of our house could not transcend it.
My pity flamed with zeal, especially when I foresaw your marriage. Then it mounted.
How? Marriage?
That's a contaminating act would have spoiled all your fortunes. A rape! God bless us.
Thou talk'st of marriage.
Yes, you do marry. I saw the man.
The man?
An absolute handsome gentleman, a complete one. You'll say so when you see him. Heir to 3 red hats, besides his general hopes in the Black House.
Why, sure thou'rt much mistaken in this man. I've promised single life to all my affections.
Promise you what you will, or I, or all on it. There's a fate rules and overrules us all, methinks.
How came you to see or know this mystery?
A magical glass I bought of an Egyptian, whose stone retains that speculative virtue, presented the man to me. Your name brings him as often as I use it, and methinks I never have enough. Person and postures are all so pleasing.
This is wondrous strange. The faculties of soul are still the same. I can feel no one motion tend that way.
We do not always feel the faith we live by, nor ever see our growth, yet both work upward.
'Twas well applied. But may I see him now? May I see him too?
Surely you may, without all doubt or fear, observing the right use as I was taught it, not looking back nor questioning the spectre.
That's no hard observation. Trust it with me. It's possible. I long to see this man.
Pray follow me then, and I'll ease you instantly.
And of course, we all remember, going with the spy metaphor simile thing here, that, you know, we all remember that James Bond film with the magical stone that shows you who you're going to marry. It's a famous gambit used all the time. I don't know if anyone was expecting this hair to be sent running. We obviously expected the Black Queen's pawn was going to do something with the White Queen's pawn. That's why she stood up for her.
I'm surprised the White Queen's pawn is not a little bit more cautious.
Yeah.
I am not, because this is the only person in the entire chess set who stood up for her.
Her own side completely abandoned her.
Yeah, including, you know, her White Queen. She says something in the scene in which they all leave. She says something about being abandoned by. I don't know how she phrased it, but there's a lot of loyalty that was there to the White Queen that's now gone, which is exactly what they were hoping for on the other side.
So earlier on, when she talks about it was a trap to create greater confusion, that must have been as an aside. The White Queen's pawn couldn't have heard that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of these lines are potential asides. You know, I've put in the ones that I immediately had to hand, or repurposed the ones that were in the edition that this was from. But I think we can interpolate an awful lot of questions about what's being said to whom, and when and where they are, because that whole scene, there seems to be clumps of action, and some people are hanging back and in their own side of the chessboard, and this feels like a chess match because you've got the different pieces moving and trying different gambits.
It had to be on some sort of like one of those Segway things, or whatever they're called. Everyone comes zooming up and zooming back. Just imagine very fluid.
God, don't tell Lloyd Webber that. He'll have it roller skates.
But of course, the thing about chess is your pieces don't change color randomly.
No.
I mean, this is where the it all starts to fragment a bit, because, you know, you've got pieces changing sides. And that I think is fascinating.
On the other hand, more recently, you've had many more metaphors drawn from the game.
Yes.
Than
the bag.
Before. You know, many more references to playing and a game and taking, and than in the first part, where it might just as well not have been a game of chess.
Yeah, we are in the thick of the sense that they need to win the game is much more apparent now. So Act 3 is basically broken up into 3 parts. Act 3, Scene 2 is vitally important to the plot of this story. I don't think you're going to miss this. This is very important. Everything that's about to happen here. So we have the black jesting pawn who enters. We have a white pawn who is Alan. Yes. So William's the black jesting pawn, and who is the second black pawn? That's Alexandra. Excellent. So, this very important scene.
I would so fain take one of these white pawns now. I'd make him do all under drudgery, feed him with ass's milk, crumbed with goat's cheese, and all the white meats could be devised for him. So, make him my white jennet when I prance it after the black knight's litter.
And you'd look then just like the devil striding o'er a nightmare made of a miller's daughter.
Pox on you. Were you so near? I'm taken like a blackbird in the great snow, this white pawn grinning o'er me.
And now, because I will not foul my clothes ever hereafter, the white quickly soils, you know.
Did he get thee gone then? I shall smut thee.
No, I'll put that to venture now. I've snapped thee. Thou shalt do all the dirty drudgery, that slavery that e'er was put to.
I shall cozen you. You may chance come and find your work undone then, but I'm too proud to labour. I'll starve first. I'll tell you that beforehand.
And I'll fit you then with a black whip that shall not be behindhand.
Pish, I've been used to whipping. I've been whipped myself 3 mile out of a town in the morning, and I can fast a fortnight and make all your meat stink and lie on your hand.
To prevent that, Your food shall be blackberries, and upon gaudy days, a pickled spider, cut out like an anchovus. I'm not to learn a monkey's ordinary. Come, sir, will you frisk?
And enter a second black pawn.
Soft, soft, you. You have no such bargain on it if you look well about you.
I'm snapped too, a black pawn in the breach of me. We three look like a bird spit, a white chick between two russet woodcocks.
I'm so glad of this.
But you shall have small cause, for I'll furk you.
Then I'll furk you again.
And I'll furk him again.
Mass, you'll be old faking. I shall have the worst on't, for I can fake nobody. We draw together now for all the world like three flies with one straw through the buttocks.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. Let's do the locomotion. So, for those who've not been paying attention, the white pawn and the black jesting pawn are swapping positions in the opening of the dialogue. The white pawn comes up behind the black jesting pawn, quite close, we can assume. And really, this now comes down to taste as to how obscene you allow this to go, because they obviously do a certain amount of switcheroos, deciding who's going to get smutty, as it were, who is attaching themselves to which orifice, and which way round they go, and then enter a second black pawn with the white pawn ending up in the middle. Yes, this is a three-way.
Three-way.
It's a three-way. Second black pawn is into the white pawn, and the white pawn is into the black jesting. Black jesting pawn, because the black jesting pawn doesn't get to furk anybody. No. He's getting furked by the other two.
By everyone.
Yeah. So it's vitally important to the plot, as you know. There's sort of some hints of some of the logistics of anal penetration, in terms of the dietary and what time you eat in advance, so that you have a clear passage. I think we really can't ignore the fact
a little too much information here.
It's all there. I'm sorry, I'm just elucidating the text.
And let's remember, this is vitally important to the plot.
It's vitally important to the plot that you understand this porn scene that has absolutely no connection to anything whatsoever. The only reason this is here is because the next scene, the Black Queen's pawn and the White Queen's pawn enter, and they left in the last scene.
Wow.
It's a comic interlude with no point at all, apart from to split two scenes apart.
Yeah. Do you need to put a trigger warning at the top of the episode of?
No, I'm just going to wait for it.
If you're a Scouser, you may get upset.
No, I'm just going to. I'm literally going to take. I'm just going to wait for this to be taken down by YouTube. It's fine.
I love the Scouse accent in that, will you?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a delightful interlude, which is going into as many of my live shows as I can fit in.
But it's likely that this, like, another scene that we were looking at in the famous, or a few scenes that we were looking at in the famous histories, it's likely that this would just be sort of placeholder, text-wise, for... And now the clowns do some stuff, right?
It feels a lot tighter as a script than the Tarleton material. You know, it feels because it has specific blocking that goes with it. There's specific physical shifts in who's where in the line, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, it's one specific physical gag, but theoretically, it could just be one of several. Sort of prearranged.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it's infinitely swappable. You know, and so long as they're dressed as pawns, who cares? But it goes to show that there's more of a crossover between the two houses than you'd think. You know, they're all happy to coexist and mingle.
I suppose it could be seen as an allegory, couldn't it, of what's happening with the masters.
Corruption further down the line. It's all sex and violence in this play.
Exactly.
I wonder if it was a way to also further show off the set and the way that the pieces move about, because pawns are quite close to each other, and then you could just overtake one, maybe like diagonally or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Nice. To further show off the mechanics of it.
The moves on the yes, that makes sense. If they're all in a diagonal, then yeah.
Like in the end, they end up in a diagonal, maybe, or something. Yeah.
That's a really good point, because then who's taking who?
Yeah.
Oh, that's no. I don't know whether we can do anything with that, but that's that. I think we should rapidly move on. Okay, so we return to this interesting new subplot with the Black Queen's Pawn and the White Queen's Pawn. Where's this going? Who knows? Let's find out. Let's go to Act 3, Scene 3.
This is the room he did appear to me in. And look you, this the magical glass that showed him.
I find no motion yet. What should I think on't? A sudden fear invades me, a faint trembling under this omen, as is oft felt the panting of a turtle under a stroking hand.
That bodes good luck still. Sign you shall change state speedily. For that trembling is always the first symptom of a bride. For any vein of fears that may accompany his apparition, by my truth to friendship, I quit you of the least. Never was object more gracefully presented. The very air conspires to do him honour and create sweet vocal sounds, as if a bridegroom entered, which argues the blessed harmony of your loves.
And will the using of my name produce him?
Nay, of yours only, else the wonder halted. To clear you of that doubt, I'll put the difference in practice. The first thing I do, I make his invocation in the name of others.
'Twill satisfy me much, that.
It shall be done. Thou, whose gentle form and face filled lately this Egyptic glass, by the imperious powerful name and the universal fame of the mighty Black House Queen, I conjure thee to be seen. What? See you nothing yet?
Not any part. Pray try another.
You shall have your will. I double my command and power, and at the instant of this hour invoke thee in the White Queen's name, with stay for time and shape the same. What see you yet?
There's nothing shows at all.
My truth reflects the clearer then. Now fix and bless your fair eye with your own forever. Thou, well composed by fate's hand, drawn to enjoy the White Queen's pawn, of whom thou shalt by virtue met many graceful issues get, by the beauty of her fame, by the whiteness of her name, by her fair and fruitful love, by her truth that mates the dove, by the meekness of her mind, by the softness of her kind, by the lustre of her grace. By all these thou art summoned to this place. Hark, how the air enchanted with your praises, and his approach those words to sweet notes raises.
Music. Enter the Black Bishop's Pawn, attired richly like an apparition, and stands before the glass, then exits.
Let him stay a while, a little longer.
That's a good hearing.
If he be mine, why should he part so soon?
Why, this is but the shadow of yours. How do you?
Oh, I did ill to give consent to see it. What certainty is in our blood or state? What we will write, what we still write, is blotted out by fate. Our wills are like a cause that is law-tossed. What one court orders is by another crossed.
I find no fit place for this passion here. 'Tis merely an intruder. He's a gentleman most wishfully composed. Honour grows on him, and wealth piled up for him. has youth enough too, and yet in the sobriety of his countenance, grave as a tetrarch, which is gracious in the eye of modest pleasure. Where's the emptiness? What can you more request?
I do not know what answer yet to make. It doth require a meeting twixt my fear and my desire.
She's caught, and which is strange, by her most wrongeth.
End of Act 3. So, that's a plausible plot there. Absolutely. That's a fascinating attempt to control the White Queen's pawn. Thoughts about the implications of this scene?
Well, depending on how much of the man she could see, she's very gullible.
Yes.
I mean, you've got to make sure that he's unrecognizable to her if we're to have any sympathy with her at all. His face must be hidden.
I also think richly attired is really important. If he looks entirely unlike what she's expecting to see as the Black Bishop's pawn, who is isn't he a priest?
Yes.
Yeah.
So these because it's a period where habit kind of is a great identifier. One, it's the fact that he doesn't look like himself, and two, it's the fact that he looks like so much higher a match for her than what she'd expect. It sounds like such a good thing to believe in, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's very worrying for I think for an audience of going, where is this going? I found it very destabilizing because it's a comic scene. We've got all this calling on the horn, and the setup of this. It's one hell of a con to be playing. It's one hell of a gambit to go for. I don't know how many people have felt the panting of a turtle. That was a line that leapt out at me.
It's a turtle dove, of course.
I know. But even so.
But I mean, that's what they said, the voice of the turtle. They called a turtle dove a turtle.
Yes, we have it in mystery plays all the time. It always lands badly.
Yeah. I mean, I would always substitute dove for turtle, and the hell with any rhyme or meter.
Okay, we're running a little short on time, so I'm going to ask us to crack on into the opening gamut of Act 4, Scene 1. So we have here, entering severally, the Black Knight's pawn, as well as the Black Bishop's pawn, who's had a bit of a break. He's had an act off. And he's in his gallant habit, so he's dressed richly still. So Black Knight's pawn opens this with an aside.
It's he, my confessor. He might have passed me 7 years together, had I not by chance advanced mine eye upon him that lettered hatband, the Jesuitical symbol to be known by, worn by the brave collegians with consent. 'Tis a strange habit for a holy father, a president of poverty especially, but we, the sons and daughters of obedience, dare not once think awry, but must confess ourselves as humbly to the father, of that feather, long spur and poniard, as to the Alban altar, and happy we're so highly graced to attain to it, holy and reverend.
How hast thou found me out?
O sir, put on the sparklingest trim of glory, perfection will shine foremost. But I knew you, and I knew you by the catholical mark you wear about you, the mark above your forehead.
Are you grown so ambitious in your observance? Well, your business, I have my game to follow.
I have a worm follows me so, that I can follow no game. The most faint-hearted pawn, if he could see his play, might snap me up at pleasure. I desire, sir, to be absolved. My conscience being at ease, I could then with more courage ply my game.
'Twas a base fact.
'Twas to a schismatic pawn, sir.
What's that to the nobility of revenge? Suffices have neither will nor power to give you absolution for that violence. Make your petition to the penance chamber. If the tax register relieve you in't, by the Black Bishop's clemency, you have wrought out a singular piece of favour with your money. That's all your refuge now.
Black Knight's Pawn.
The sting shoots deeper.
And exits the Black Knight's Pawn. Oh, poor pawn. Enter the White Queen's Pawn and Black Queen's Pawn.
Yonder's my game, which like a politic chess master, I must not seem to see.
Oh, my heart, 'tis he!
That 'tis.
The very self-same that the magical mirror presented lately to me.
And how like a most regardless stranger he walks by, merely ignorant of his fate. You are not minded. The principal is part of him. What strange mysteries inscrutable love works by.
The time you see is not yet come.
But 'tis in our power now to bring time nearer. Knowledge is a mastery, and make it observe us, and not we it.
I would force nothing from its proper virtue. Let time have his full course. I had rather die the modest death of undiscovered love than have heaven's least and lowest servant suffer, or in his motion receive check for me. How is my soul's growth altered? That single life, the fittest garment that peace ever made for it, is grown too straight, too stubborn on the sudden.
He comes this way again.
Oh, there's a traitor leapt from my heart into my cheek already that will betray all to his powerful eye if it but glance upon me.
By my verity, look, he's passed by again, drowned in neglect, without the prosperous hint of so much happiness to look upon his fortune. How close fate seals up the eye of human understanding, till, like the sun's flower, time and love unclose it. 'Twere pity he should dwell in ignorance longer.
What will you do?
Yes, but die a bashful death do, and let the remedy pass by unused still. You're changed enough already, if you'd look into it. Absolute sir, with your most noble pardon for this my rude intrusion, I am bold to bring the knowledge of a secret nearer by many days, sir, than it would arrive in its own proper revelation with you. Pray, turn and fix. Do you know yond noble goodness?
'Tis the first minute mine eye blessed me with her, and clearly shows how much my knowledge wanted, not knowing her till now.
She's to be liked then? Pray, view advisedly. There is strong reason that I'm so bold to urge it. You must guess the work concerns you nearer than you think for.
Her glory and the wonder of this secret puts a reciprocal amazement on me.
And 'tis not without worth. You too must be better acquainted.
Is there cause, affinity, or any courteous help creation joys in to bring that forward?
Yes, I can show you the nearest way to that perfection of a most virtuous one that joy ever found. Pray, mark her once again, then follow me, and I will show you her must be your wife, sir.
The mystery extends, or else creation hath set that admirable piece before us to choose our chaste delights by.
Please you follow, sir.
What art have you to put me on an object and cannot get me off? 'Tis pain to part from it.
And they exit. Black Queen's Pawn exits with the Black Bishop's Pawn.
If there prove no check in that magical glass now, but my proportion come as fair and fall into his eye as his into mine lately, then I'm confirmed he is mine own forever.
And they re-enter.
The very self-same that the mirror blessed me with, from head to foot, the beauty and the habit. Keep you this place still? Did you not remove, lady?
Not a foot further, sir.
Is't possible? I would have sworn I had seen the substance yonder. 'Twas to that lustre, to that life presented.
Even so was yours to me, sir.
Saw you mine?
Perfectly clear. No sooner my name used, but yours appeared.
Just so did yours at mine now.
Why stand you idle? Will you let time cozen you, protracting time of those delicious benefits that fate hath marked to you? You modest pair of blushing gamesters, and you, sir, the bashfulest. No, I cannot flatter a foul fault in any. Can you be more than man and wife assigned, and by a power the most irrevocable? Others that be adventurers in delight may meet with crosses, shame, or separation. You know the mind of fate. You must be coupled.
She speaks but truth in this. I see no reason then that we should miss the relish of this night, but that we are both shamefaced.
How, this night, sir? Did not I know you must be mine, and therein your privilege runs strong, for that loose motion you never should be? Is it not my fortune to match with a pure mind? Then I am miserable. The doves and all chaste-loving winged creatures have their pairs fit, their desires justly mated. Is woman more unfortunate, a virgin, the May of woman? Fate that hath ordained, sir, we should be man and wife, hath not given warrant for any act of knowledge till we are so.
Tender-eyed modesty, how it grieves at this. I'm as far off for all this strange imposture as at first interview. Where lies our game now? Oh, sorry, I'm talking to the wrong person. Where lies our game now? You know I cannot marry by mine order.
I know you cannot, sir, yet you may venture upon a contract.
Ha!
Surely you may, sir, without all question, so far without danger or any stain to your vow, and that may take her. Nay, do it with speed. She'll think you mean the better too.
Be not so lavish of that blessed spring. You've wasted that upon a cold occasion now, would wash a sinful soul white. By our love joys, that motion that ne'er light upon my tongue more till we're contracted then. I hope you are mine.
In all just duty ever.
Then, do you question it? Psh, then you're man and wife, all but church ceremony. Pray, let's see that done first. She shall do reason then. Now I'll enjoy the sport and cozen you both. My blood's game is the wages I have worked for.
And the scene ends. So, what is the Black Queen's pawn up to? What's her game? I mean, obviously, she's sort of joining them together and setting them up for a marriage, well, a marriage, so that they can get down to the bed business. Black Bishop's pawn just can't. He's always in a hurry, isn't he? Let's put it that way. Trying to be put it a gentle way there. He's no patience. And goes straight to the bed business, which raises the White Queen's suspicions, and has to be once again assuaged by the Black Queen's pawn.
Again,
Yes,
there was...
Sorry, Liz first, then Helen.
So, no, I was just going to say, again, there was one line, and I can't remember where it was. I suddenly thought that must be an aside as well, because it's sometimes difficult to know whether she's actually saying it as an aside to the Black Bishop's pawn.
Yes, there's a little bit of a contretemps as they go back and forth and going, how are we going to do this? She's not going to go to bed with us. How are we going to do this?
Yeah,
Helen.
that was exactly what I was going to say. I completely lost the plot. And I was doing my soft and gentle voice when I should have been doing my what voice.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We've got so many. Each individual person has so many different voices. They play. Who are they playing to? And it's not just the sides. It's just conversations to different speakers as well. And that's basically my fault because I haven't properly marked up the script. Other thoughts, William? Do you have any? We're interaction time now, so I'm broadly speaking winding up the room. So sort of where we are, we're into Act 4. We're into the home straight now. Where do we think it's going? Where have we been? So, William, sort of final thoughts. You're muted.
Black Bishop's pawn is in on this?
Oh, yes.
Right? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Then the whole thing about, well, I just saw you in the mirror. That makes total sense now.
Yeah.
But indeed, Helen, you were playing it like you were not in on it, right? It felt really like you were as amazed as White Queen's pawn was.
Well, yes, but that was for the benefit of the White Queen's pawn.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to pretend.
Yeah. No, White Queen's pawn is screwed. I mean, that's it.
Or will
that's
be.
It will be one way or another, whether literally or just metaphorically. And that's tomorrow.
Liz?
I was going to say, I was, and it was nothing to do with the way you were reading it, Helen, but at one point I thought, actually, does he actually know who it is? I did wonder that.
I'm certain he does.
Yeah. This, there's been, the thing is, the Black Queen's pawn is a master spy in a way that the Black Bishop's pawn isn't. He's a barely trained amateur who just has power. And
why does she? Sorry.
Go on.
So why does she say to him, "Pray view advisedly. There is strong reason that I'm so bold to urge it. You must guess the work concerns you nearer than you think for."
Where is that? Sorry.
That is page 50.
Just approximately where is it in the scene?
Well, is it the beginning when we said that we see she approaches the Black Bishop's pawn? So White Queen's pawn says, "What will you do?" And then she goes off to speak to the Black Bishop's pawn.
Oh yes, but that's a conversation that is expected to be overheard, I think.
Okay.
Or part of it is.
It sounds like she's trying to persuade him. There is strong reason that I'm so bold to urge it. You must guess the work concerns you nearer than you think for.
Yes, so the con is that they don't know each other, and that she's just approaching this man on the street going, "Forgive me for being so bold, but there's something really special that concerns you that you should know about. Come with me and I'll show you your intended."
It's games within games, which pulling all those layers off. It's something you need to be able to demonstrate clearly to the audience that that there's a bit of setup going on. This is again, it's a con. It's their remarks. There's this constant talking about being caught in check. The White Queen's pawn's aware that she could be trapped again. She could be put in check again. And I also just want to throw back the Black Knight's pawn. Poor chap. He's just going, "I can't play this game. I want out. I'm not up to this. I'm a good pawn. I'm a good black piece. That we're not all evil. Some of us just aren't up to this evil." I liked it. I liked him.
Yeah.
You
really nice
could
that
almost play him as Eccles.
I wouldn't go that far. I think he's just burnt out. I don't think he's not up for this at all.
I've taken to calling the Black Bishop's pawn Kevin. I don't know why.
Okay. I'm not going to. That sounds fine to me. It could be a Kevin. I think you're right there.
There's one that's I've just been thinking about in terms of characterization. I would suspect that we've got almost a structure of deference throughout this. In other words, when the king is on, then everyone will be deferring to him. You've then got the situation that effectively the Duke, the Knight, and the Bishop are pretty well on a level. Duke may be slightly higher. I just wonder whether the same, and the pawns will obviously be deferential to any of the main characters, but I'm just wondering whether the pawns actually acquire some status by proxy. In other words, the Queen's pawn will be of higher status than a non-royal.
Yes, though it's not entirely linear, because I'm not sure who's higher rank than the knight and the bishop.
I would view them as being pretty well on a par.
In that case, we've got a scene with the black bishop's pawn and the black knight's pawn. Then the different status there is just simply one's willing to do evil and the other isn't.
Yeah. But no, it just struck me as a way that one could look at it.
Using status, yeah.
Yeah.
Helen.
No, I was just, the Black Knight is more active. The Black Bishop is more...
contemplative?
No, more. I think has more status.
Yeah, but the Black Knight seems to have, more maneuverability.
Which, of course, they do.
And fewer morals.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're probably on a par with each other. It's just, I think the bishop's got fewer fires in the iron. Irons in the fire. That's the one. Okay. Final thoughts, Alexandra, before we close off, because we're well into extra time.
I just wanted to say I really like the layering that the characters are shown to have. The way in which nobody's actually clean cut black or white, and how we're getting to see that. We've got to see that more and more in this second section, and also the betrayals back and forth. I think it's, again, going back to, portraying it, how do we present this to a contemporary audience? I think these are the things that we, nowadays, we want to see, is that besides people's affiliation to a specific group or another, everyone is out for themselves, and everyone has bits of goodness and bits of badness in them. So I like the fact that despite the potential temptation to present it as a very flat characterization style, Middleton's obviously done very much the opposite of that.
Yeah, he's done the work. These are living, breathing characters. Even down to that tiny knight's pawn, who's even though he's said very little, immediately who the poor bugger is. Veronica, for any final thoughts?
I don't have much to add from what's already been said, other than, I'm really enjoying the play so far. I'm excited to see how this will carry on to tomorrow. Yeah.
We do have these interesting intersecting and sort of new plot lines being added to plot lines. So there's a lot of room for maneuver as to where this is going to go. Yeah. Any final thoughts from Liz or Helen?
I was just wondering why, because they've just had this exposition. I see now who just said it at the beginning. I've forgotten that bit. I must... Yonder's my game, which, like a politic chess maker, I must not seem to see. But then he and the Black Queen's pawn go out for a bit and then come back again. I don't see why they do that, because they've already...
To look in the mirror.
Yeah.
To pretend to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that he can see her beautiful image. They don't actually do it. They probably go off and have a cup of tea.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the session with the crystal ball from him.
Yeah. So she's waiting outside going, what's he seen? Has he seen me? Has he seen me? Even though it's a very short speech, actually, it does it's an interesting question how you place that, actually.
You really have to have her be concentrated reading this, don't you?
Oh, it's detailed.
It's very detailed.
So
yes,
detailed.
yeah.
It's
Helen.
interesting that she's being betrayed by another woman. I doubt if a man would be able to take her in at this point in her trajectory.
No.
But another woman can.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably lost some of her naivety, but I think she's still pretty bloody naive.
Well, I think she's also just a tad bit traumatized. I mean, she's had a really terrible day, and her new friend, the only person who stood up for her, has just kept her moving and doesn't give her a chance to think, which is what a good con artist does. So all of this moves so quickly because there can't be that impression of time passing. Otherwise, she'd have a chance to go, no, hang on, this is nonsense. And the production has to keep that pressure on her. Alan, sorry, last thoughts.
No more from me on that, I think.
Excellent. Well, we've got one more, an act and a half to go. There's an awful lot that will happen. I love it when people don't read ahead. It always brings out the wonderful speculations. Remember, well, and we can talk about genre and things as well tomorrow as well. What is this play? It's always fun questions to ask. But for now, that's it, as we have to go into housekeeping. And so we'll say goodbye. Thanks to all the readers today, and bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.